right. Welcome to Sobriety, Spirituality, and Sales. This is a dream come true today.
Awesome to be here, guys.
Thank you, Alex. The show's brought to you by Mike Bader, State Farm Agency, First and River.
Good morning.
Give him an opportunity to quote you. He won't let you down.
Yeah.
Right?
Give us a call.
So, sitting across from Alex Gallagher, thank you for driving from Austin, Texas to be here this morning, and you're on your way to California.
Yep. Got to wrap out the year strong, you know.
Yeah. You're going to be out in LA for like a month?
Out in LA for a month.
Okay.
Spend a little time with the family for Christmas. Fly out the wife and kid. But I've got 2 weeks of heavy rotation. Yeah. Try to close a couple contracts before we go into the new year. Yeah.
Finish strong.
Big announcement coming is that our office in Austin is ready to go. Our office in Austin is ready to go. Our visual effects company, Rapid VFX, we're 10 years old. This last year, at 10 years, we were offered an opportunity to move out to Texas. Texas offered the legislature. Thank you guys so much. They offered up to a 22.5% rebate, which is one of the most aggressive for production, film production, television production, and post production.
Oh, outstanding!
In the country, they're really making a stride to be Hollywood 2.0, and everyone behind it is awesome and great.
Yeah. And so you're pioneering this. Would you say like you're one of the first people to jump ship, or?
I jumped the gun.
Okay.
Yeah, I found out about it. I'd just been down there. I was on a boat, a little boat party. There's this guy. He's like, hey, I was an executive producer on this and da da da. And I've heard it a million times before. I've been in the industry my entire life, and I'm like, okay, cool, like great. He's like, it's about to be Hollywood 2.0, as he downs a shot of vodka. And I'm like, okay, cool, man, sweet.
Yeah.
I get back on Monday night from that trip at it's like Tuesday morning at 2 a.m. because I drive everywhere. Get back, and then Thursday morning I get a text from one of my employees, and it says Texas has offered this crazy tax incentive for the film industry.
Wow.
And I immediately called a friend of mine who said that they had met. I was supposed to be at a show in Denver that weekend, gave my ticket to a friend of mine. They met this real estate agent, and I'm like, it's meant to be. So I call that girl, and I go, I need to get my house listed for sale right now. I'm moving to Texas tomorrow.
Nice.
And so in a month, we closed on the house.
Oh, nice.
And during that month, I flew down. I flew down the Monday after. I flew down, got everything set up with the lawyer, with the accountant, all that crap, and showed up. And I'm at the Chamber of Commerce, and they're like, honey, this is just put in. They're like, it's not even active yet.
You're like, I move fast.
And I'm like, cool, I'm ready to go. Yeah. And they're like, well, you look hungry.
Yeah.
Do you want to get some food? And honestly, it's been the greatest thing ever. Texas is such a great place, especially for small businesses. Everyone's so nice and welcoming. That lady literally offered me food off of her plate.
Wow. That's incredible.
At that moment. And it's kind of everything is like that. Texas is one of the greatest places to do business. I've heard Phoenix is a great place to do business. Arizona overall. But people are so supportive and so welcoming and awesome. So we went down. What should have taken probably 2 years to get going, we're ready to go in about 3 months.
Wow.
And now it's just, we're just out there telling everybody, hey, if you didn't know, 22.5% back. So if you spend $1 million with us, you're going to get $225,000 back.
Wow, it's a pretty good incentive to do.
Great freaking pitch too.
Yeah.
Win-win.
Yeah. So it's been great. And it's the craziest part of it has been kind of the religious aspect of it that's come up. Which we can get into, but it's just everything is leading towards some kind of light down there, and it's awesome.
Right on.
Yeah, it's been great.
I'm just curious, Mike. You got any questions?
No. Texas is kind of the hot spot. Rogan moved out there, Elon. Mm-hmm. So it's just people are done with California and they're moving to Texas, and what a great opportunity for you.
Yeah,
that's fantastic.
Yeah, and you got beaches too. So
yeah, I think Charles Barkley talks a lot about that. Galveston.
Yeah, I haven't been to the beaches yet. Lake Austin is great. It's definitely some kind of point on earth where things feel right, and it feels like it's very conducive to happiness is good for good business, right? So everybody seems really. It's like I never go out in Austin and don't see anybody smiling. So it seems like there's something in the water for sure.
Nice.
And hopefully it's nothing bad.
Right. Now, did you buy a property, or do you guys have an office off the river? Is that what I saw?
So yeah, we ended up at this really cool place. We're in a development zone, which is great. That's a Trump holdover from his first time in office. Development zones are basically like all these areas where we used to manufacture things in this country, and all that's gone to China. Development zones are built into the tax code. So these old like factory spaces. So we're in this barn where I don't know what they did. You know, it's this huge building, beautiful architecture. You know, like late 1800s, early 1900s kind of vibe.
Wow.
You know, it's got like a really like kind of gritty feel to it. We've got a big steel door that we have to open to get into the entrance and stuff, which is also great for security because that's another big part of the television industry. Everything has to be under wraps. And the other nice part about being in a development zone is so Trump saw all these areas that were being dilapidated and became, you know, low income zones. And he was like, we need to pump some money into these economies. There's people that live there, you know, there's people that live there that need jobs and you know, support those jobs and everything like that. So capital gains tax, if you sell your house and you know, invest into a development zone, that capital gains tax suddenly disappears.
Oh, wow, man.
I know.
Short term and long term, huh? Doesn't matter. Wow.
So that's a nice little spot. I've been living in my Airstream for the last 3 months down there. My wife has a business in Denver. She's still wrapping that up. So she's in an apartment. She's in a nice apartment in Cherry Creek in Denver. And I've been down in Austin just living in an Airstream down by the river. You know, my neighbors' houses are like $30 million, and I'm paying $500 a month for a full hookup with sewage. It's been, you know, it's whatever. It's just been interesting. We didn't want to jump right in, you know, buy a house. I wanted to take the equity that I had in the house and throw it into this you know, generation 2.0 of the business. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, and you said the best part about it is you get no Amazon packages to
I've saved so much
Airstream,
money.
right?
I haven't spent any money since I moved. Like, obviously, wife has her bills.
Yeah.
I've got my bills. You know, we've got our car insurance and all that kind of crap. But other than that, I've spent no money living.
Yeah.
You know, it's just I got to get my steak and my milk and my cheese and my bread, and that's it.
What kind of business does your wife have again?
She does. It's how we met. She does IVs, and IVs, alternative health, hormones. Hormones is a big thing for women these days, especially you know, with birth control being shoved down their throats for the 90s and early 2000s. Everybody's a little whacked up. And so a lot of her business is like cleaning people out. And we met. I actually had been in a car accident, lost feeling in both of my hands. Was about to went through this 6-month process of just being in pain every day. Was about to just finally give in and go for this surgery that had a 50% take of possibly working and probably not working. Wow. And maybe making things a lot worse. And a friend of mine was at an expo, met this girl. She starts talking about something called methylene blue. And so she loads me up with that. It's kind of a funny joke that her dad hates, but we ended up having a kid shortly after, and he goes, how did this happen? And I'm like, well, you know, she poked me and I poked her. But that's how we ended up meeting. You know, not the most professional. She's a very professional lady. I'm a very professional guy. We got along really well right off the bat, and you know, we managed to have this kid. Who's just like the light of both of our eyes.
He came out looking like a Smurf?
No, we were worried he was going to. Actually.
And what I love about it is you take him to all the concerts and the festivals.
Yeah.
You plug him up with the the earphones.
So he when he came out, so Mike and I met this Mike met at Rufus DeSoul show in Aspen. And the next day they were playing
full moon.
August
the 8th.
Oh my
incredible.
God! It was
just recently.
Yeah,
nice.
It was so cool. Rufus DeSoul I've followed for a long time. I've been in the music scene. I love shows. I love going to shows since I was a kid. And Rufus has been like this weird light in the electronic music industry where things don't go dark. It's always like a light and positive message. Kind of have a weird theory based on their lyrics that they might be slightly religious or Barry. And actually, me and Brittany ended up getting together. We kept it professional until a Rufus DeSoul show, and then we kind of gave in to the feelings that existed there. so we met at that, and my son's first show was actually the next night at Rufus Live in Denver, and he knew all the songs. The first song I had sang to him when he was born was Inner Bloom, one of their biggest songs.
Yeah,
and
they just had their 10-year anniversary of that song, which is crazy. I can't believe it's been out there.
Such a good song. And if you look at the lyrics, on Rufus' Soul, just like go to the song Always, open up the lyrics on your iPhone because they're available. You just hit the little quotation mark on the side, and it's I'll always be there. I'll always be there for you. You'll always be there for me.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's something.
I've actually heard other electronic artists like Plum. I mentioned that one to you, and I don't know if you ever looked into that, but she's definitely a faith-based artist. And it's funny because you don't really. That's not your typical Christian music or faith-based music.
Yeah.
So it's almost like they're mesmerizing people or brainwashing people into it, which is awesome.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
Because there's also the opposite of that where people, you mentioned going to a concert where it was not the best music and they busted out some BS, right?
Yeah, I don't want to mention who, but we were at a really big name in Los Angeles, and there is, we can get into the spirituality of things. There's a lot of people, I think, right now we're in the cusp. Our whole society seems to be heading towards some kind of revelation. The unfortunate part is there's some dark energy being used, and there's light energy being used to kind of get to the same thing, right? You can build your business on positivity and light and embrace, or you can build your business on dark energy and just kind of the worst things possible. And we were at this show. God, it was honestly, it's terrible to think about, but we're at this show and you hear all the time about sometimes, and I've worked in Hollywood my whole life. I've seen some pretty weird things, but a lot of great things nonetheless. But you always hear stories of like, who is it? Jim Morrison. There's the tale of he had a manor in Scotland where he practiced dark arts, and he attributed his fame to the dark arts. And he was doing like summoning things, bringing people from like dark chambers on the earth and stuff like that, entities. And you always heard about these stories and you never really saw it. And then we experienced it in person. We were at a show in LA. And it's this like positive vibrations kind of music, it's like mindless kind of music, TikTok music, as you might call it. And all of a sudden it goes from like light and happy to just dark, and all the lights go red. And there's just like black demonic entities all over the screen. And I immediately cover Brittany's eyes and I'm looking around, and I look back at the crowd, and everyone's just like this, taking it in. Oh, dude, it's so fucking weird. It's so weird. Yeah. So Rufus, again, positive, great. I had the chance to go to like a really small party that they hosted at Burning Man this year. And I wanted to talk to them. It was weird. It was the weirdest thing. I like really wanted to talk to them and like just like thank them for their music and show them the video of my son had been to their concert like a week before. And it was just, he had the coolest reaction to it. And I'm like, I'm not going to go talk to them during their DJ set and, mess with them or anything like that. I don't want to just distract them. They're here having a good time like everybody else is. They're not here getting paid. Nobody's getting paid at Burning Man. And all of a sudden the fucking power goes out. Like the generator that they're using to run this camp just goes out, goes black. All the music's off, and I'm like, here's my opportunity. And I go talk to them for a little bit, and I'm like, don't tell me if it is or it isn't. I know you don't want to say, but like, I feel like there's some spirituality going on here, and they're like, there always is. So yeah, great experience.
Absolutely.
Great experience. So we met in the right light.
Yeah, absolutely. What's crazy is that I've been to concerts as a young person growing up. I used to be into hip hop and just growing up in the '90s here, and the music was just terrible. I mean, it's very negative music, talking about things that aren't going to actually help you in your life. They're going to hurt you. So going to this, it was so refreshing going to this Rufus Du Sol concert because everybody was just having a good time. Everybody's minding their own business, or they're trying to be helpful if somebody needs help, or blah, blah, blah. Somebody falls down, they pick them up, right? So it's very refreshing to see that. You kind of touched on, the spiritual side of the music, and then also, the opposite of that, but that also rings true in your industry, right? So if you don't mind, if we can kind of let the audience know like how you grew up, how you got involved in this business, and then more importantly, your spiritual nature, your spiritual armor that you put on every day, how do you use that to walk this fine line in your business, right? Because we all know what Hollywood's about, right? There's a lot of stuff that maybe isn't the greatest that goes on to conduct business. But you sit here today with us, you've moved your business, you make solid decisions, you have a lot of clarity in your life. So obviously you're doing things right. So if you could just kind of touch on those things, that would be awesome.
Yeah, I mean, well, so I grew up in LA, and honestly, like, I think back to it a lot now, and I think at the end of the day, I really wanted to be involved in business. I was a creative. I used to make like great film, like little films on a little like handy cam iMovie had come out, and we'd make these like 5-minute shorts that were like pretty cool. And I was throwing effects into it, so effects was always a thing. Like I just used the like really lame flame effect. Now I would never approve those shots to go on air, but for like a 16-year-old kid, it was pretty cool. I started when I was 13.
What year was this?
This was, oh my God, hold on, got to do math really quickly. I was born in '90, so this was 2003.
Okay.
And I went to high school where I struggled a lot. It was a Catholic school. Catholicism wasn't really my thing, and there was a lot of rules to it. And I think when it comes to your spirituality, there shouldn't be a lot of rules. You can't hold yourself to all these, you have to show up at this time and you got to wear a suit and tie, and you're going to eat the body of Christ and you're going to drink Christ's blood and all this stuff. And you go like, I don't know. For me, I'm like, I don't know if that's working.
It's almost like a whole workout going to church, right? The sitting, the standing, the kneeling, like you're doing squatting and stuff.
Very repetitious.
So in high school, I had I think I probably still have the biggest folder ever, and half of my write-ups were not wearing a suit to mass. And I was like, but then also, my dad's Jewish, my mom's Presbyterian. I went to a Presbyterian church growing up, and these guys would be like, well, you're not even Catholic, so like you don't take the mass. And I'm like, bro, I've been sitting here for 2 hours. Give me the cracker. I'm freaking hungry. So LA is a weird place to grow up for sure. I definitely don't want that for my son. Part of the reason why we moved. I was exposed to a lot of stuff at a young age. I told you yesterday, so there was 130 kids in my class, and I think somewhere close to like 30 of them were involved in heroin before anyone from my class graduated from from college.
Wow.
And we all stayed in touch, a small group of people. We all did things on the weekends. We went to parties and all that crap. And, a bunch of people got involved in heroin, which was the weirdest thing. So it was exposed to drugs at like a really early age. Yeah. And again, you don't think that that's what's going to happen when you go to like a Catholic all boys school, especially one that was athletic driven. We were the biggest football school. I think that school is still one of the biggest football schools in terms of high schools in the nation. And all these kids are getting addicted to drugs, and I saw it. I did a little bit of partying and never did heroin. Never did heroin or anything that extreme. I always kind of like looked at that kind of stuff. I had exposure to it. I had a girlfriend. Oh God, this is a crazy story, but I had a girlfriend who was like much older than me, very pretty. I was doing some not so kosher things at the time to make money. And so I think that was her attraction to the whole scenario. Like at the end of the day, 17, I was a really dweeby kid. I had like a Jufro, I was skinny, I didn't work out, anything like that.
McLovin
McLovin for sure, yeah. And we broke. I remember we broke up for a while. We used to smoke pot and stuff like that. We broke up for a while, and when we got back together, she was just kind of weird. And like just a little off and just strange. And one day I'm going through her bag and I find a bunch of oxys. And I'm like, what the fuck? And I don't even know what they are. I had to and I mean, the internet wasn't what it was today. So I'm like on my computer, not on my cell phone sneaking it. I'm like on my computer and she's like behind me and I'm like looking at this pill. What does this number mean?
Yeah.
So saw a lot of that, saw a lot of those challenges. I mean, there was one kid in my class that literally he was shooting up between his toes, lost his foot, and then eventually overdosed. Oh, man. And it's like,
and I almost bet that a lot of these kids started with the pills.
Yeah.
And then it went to the heroin. Nobody really starts with heroin. It's just, it's more expensive, but the pills are easily to access.
Yeah.
Right? Parents have them in their medicine cabinets.
Oh, yeah.
So that's the gateway, right, into the,
right. It makes sense to me. I've seen it. I've seen myself have my times. Definitely. Surrounding some death. I've definitely had some issues with drinking and other things. But I mean, to go that extreme, especially so young, is just so sad to see.
Yeah.
If you were to guess, what would you say? Was there like a consistent theme with these particular guys that were doing it? Were they all athletes? Were they people who didn't have good relationships with their folks? I mean, was there a constant theme there or not really?
Let's go back to the music. Let's go back to positive vibrations and reinforcing your life with, good messages. And then the messages that we had, I mean, one of the most popular bands that we all listened to, like when we were at parties and driving around, smoking blunts and shit, was Cottonmouth Kings.
Okay, yeah.
And all of that music is just get high, get fucked up, rob people, do this shit.
Right.
And it works. You have susceptible young brains.
One of the biggest spiritual awakenings that I had, and I was sitting in my fiance Melissa. This is when I was just coming off the streets, and I mentioned meeting her. I met her at a liquor store. I'm not wearing a shirt. I'm just wilding out, right? Brings me back to her house, and she's into conspiracy theories. But really, they're truths, right? That's just the label that's put on them. But there was one video that I watched extensively, and it was basically the hip-hop industry when it went from fun music and turned into gangster rap. Basically, there was a meeting with higher ups in the music industry and CIA agents or people that worked for government and prisons saying, we want you to change the narrative because we're privatizing prison. We're making that a bigger thing. We just basically want to lock more people up. So we want you to talk about guns and drugs and women and rims, 20-inch rims and blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
And hearing that, I was like, you know what? I was a victim to that. I fed into that.
Right.
I chose that narrative because I didn't know who I was. I didn't have a relationship with God.
Right.
I had no structure and things like that. So that's my theory, and I truly believe it. And to your point with that particular music too. So it wasn't just hip hop; it was other alternative music sources as well.
Yeah, for sure, everything. And I fell into it. I obviously fell into it. I mean, I didn't graduate high school. Again, I'm grateful for the life that was presented to me and for the paths that I was able to go down. At the end of the day, I wanted to be a businessman growing up. But you can't really own a business when you're 16, but you can buy a bunch of pot from somebody and start selling it to your classmates, So did pretty well selling pot in high school, got in a lot of trouble for that, didn't graduate high school. That turned into a few things. And then right around the time that I got like my first real break in the industry, because I was an intern. I was an intern. I was still smoking weed all the time, and I was like, showing up to work stoned every day. But I also had this weird job where I worked in the vault. So film would come in, and my job was to put a barcode on the film and basically enter that in the system, and it was like 3 beeps for every roll of film, right? So now every time I go to the grocery store, you're scanning it with one of those like grocery store scanners, and now every time I go to the grocery store and I hear the beep, I'm like, oh god, because I used to do like 1,000 beeps a day. So the first job was literally film would get shot, it would come into me, and I would put a barcode on it, scan it once. That would pop up this like window, and then I'd enter which roll it is, open it up, and it would say which takes are on it. Put all that information in, and then I'd scan it again, and then I'd go to the shelf that it's going on, and I'd scan that shelf, and then I'd do one more scan to finalize the whole thing. And I did that for like years.
Wow.
And a couple years into that, I driving down Sunset Boulevard. I'm with the girlfriend I was talking about earlier, and we're just like having a party in the car. It's Sunset Boulevard. You just go cruise. And I was in one of my first car had gotten totaled in a wreck. I'm in my second car, and I didn't know what a car registration was. So I get pulled over, and I'm fucking high off my ass. And he's like, license and registration. I'm like, well, here's my license and the registration's on the back. He goes, well, based on what's on the back, your registration is expired. And I'm like, I have no idea what he's talking about. And I'm also, my eyes are like this. And I'm just, and he's like, cool, like, get out of the fucking car. And then I start talking shit. Because the biker cop, and I'm like, oh, those boots are cool, man. Like, dude, did they make those in men's sizes?
You're not helping your cause at this point.
No. And somewhere in there, this is the wildest thing ever. So 6 months, I decided to fight it. Don't know why. I was just hard headed, and I believed that the time. And 6 months into it, I'm like getting passed around public defenders. There's a weird thing with like proving that somebody's high while they're driving, right? And I'm deciding to go for that angle in court. And all the public defenders are just like fucking douchebags, and they're idiots, and they're just they're giving me their 2 minutes of times. And all of a sudden, I get this guy. This guy shows up, and it's the weirdest thing. It's like he opens the door, and a white light is behind him, and it's just like the way that the sun is coming through the building in the courtroom. And so this guy shows up, and as I put him into my phone at the time, it's like those it's like you have to do ABC,
the old Motorola.
I can't remember his name, but it wanted to spell out Jesus. And I'm like, wow, it's I'm like, dude, it wants me to put you in my phone as Jesus. And he goes, huh, yeah, I get that all the time. Cool.
Wow.
Cool. He walks into the court, and it turns out he knows the public defender, and he like goes out with her in parties. Like, I'm sure or not the public defender, sorry, the district attorney. And it's and they're like friends. And he must have said like, dude, this kid's an idiot. Just like help him out. This one time it's his first offense. And literally 6 months into this case, 5 minutes of this guy being around, and I'm free to go.
Wow.
Dismissed.
Wow.
Just wait. No, hold on. Wet reckless, 3 years of probation.
Okay.
So the 3
Not
year.
the most severe option that you could.
Well, it's not going to be on his record.
Nothing's going to be on my record, and it's not going to affect my insurance rates or any of that kind of crap.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wow, that's crazy. Like 5 minutes, right? I'm like, dude, you are Jesus. And he goes, cool. I'll see you later. And he walks out, and that was it.
You never saw him again.
But that 3 years of being on probation just completely fucking turned my life around for like a long time. I really thought like being on probation meant that if I got pulled over for speeding, that I was going to jail for the rest of my life. And the night that I spent in jail, or the 2 nights that I spent in jail or not in jail, but in lockup for that arrest, were like the most dramatic. They fucked with me. They I had insulted the guy, so he took me to Hollywood precinct, and I didn't want to pee in the cup because I couldn't pee. And I'm like telling the guy, I'm like, dude, take $20 out of my wallet or, whatever, and go get me like a soda, and I'll down it and I'll pee in the cup and do, you can do the test. And he's like, no, he's like, we need blood, and we don't do blood in Hollywood. So we're going to take you to downtown LA. So I ended up in a lockup in downtown LA. And I remember walking in, and it's like one row of just black guys, one row of Mexican guys. And then here's me in my like DVS slip-ons, Bob Marley shirt, Jew fro. My eyes are bloodshot red, and everybody's just like, "Oh, easy meat." So I was traumatized, man. I never wanted to go back. I never wanted to get arrested again. And things like really straightened out. So I took this. I stopped selling drugs, stopped partying, and I was like, I was fucking miserable, and I got really fat. I was making like $10 an hour, and I'd been making pretty good money in high school. Making $10 an hour for 3 years while I'm on probation. And it's the best thing that ever happened to me. Took things seriously, became a hard worker, sobered up, didn't mess around at all. And I remember at the end of this 3 years probation, I actually went to a party that was like an illegal party, and it got shut down by SWAT, and I ran like fucking Forrest Gump, dude. Like all my friends were like, dude, it's not a big deal. And I'm like, I'm not going back. You're done. They're like, you're just here. It's not, you're not the event promoter or anything like that. But, so that was like, again, I almost feel like that was kind of some kind of divine intervention, because my thought process was, okay, I've done my 3 years of time.
Yeah.
it's over. It's time to get back into the fuckhead mode. Let's party, you know? And literally my first party the first weekend, SWAT opens up. We're in like a warehouse and the warehouse doors open up and it's just like 50 SWAT officers. Wow. I'm like, dude,
Wow.
all right, sorry. I didn't mean to do that. So did that for a while. At some point, they started hiring people into the department, and I was the only one that knew how to work it because I was basically the only employee because they'd laid everybody off during the recession. So youngest guy is building this department, did a great job doing it, trained up a bunch of people, and went, all right, cool, I'm done, dude. I've been in this vault for 3 years. If I hear another scanner again, I'm just going to like snap and go postal. And they're like, great, you're a punk-ass kid, and everybody we're hiring is 30 years old, so you can't have another job. And I'm like, okay, cool. All right, I'll ride it out for a couple more years, see what happens. Maybe I'll go back to college. So Journey is like kind of on like hold at this point. I'm going through the company message boards, and I work for this post-production conglomerate. It's a big corporation called Ascent Media. And there's a job posting for a visual effects assistant. And my dad had worked in visual effects, and I knew visual effects like really well. My dad always worked for the studios. And I'm like, yeah, well, the post-production companies are great, you know. I'll go be a visual effects assistant, and this will be some kind of ride for me to be a visual effects supervisor like my dad is. And so I applied for the job. All this politics happens, right? It's like they don't want to let me go because I'm making $10 an hour, and everybody they're hiring is like making like $18.50, and they're like, no, we don't want to fill his position. It's going to cost us twice as much, you know?
Yeah.
And I end up riding my way up. I basically go over to the other facility, and I basically say, like, dude, please get me out of this vault. Like, I can't do this anymore.
You're like what, mid-20s at this point?
No, dude, I'm 22.
Okay.
21,
Okay.
22. Wow. And they gave me this. The guy was like, you know, I really want you on board, and I know you're going to work hard. And he's also like, and I also know that you're only going to take $10 an hour, so that's fucking awesome, right? My numbers are going down, and so I get a job. It gets approved. The transfer gets approved. I end up working over there. 2 years, I like bust my ass. The industry undergoes like a major shift where do you remember the tsunami in Japan? Mm-hmm. So the tsunami in Japan knocks out the manufacturing facility that Sony owns, which makes an HD Cam SR tape. And HD Cam SR is what we lay film off to. And so all of a sudden we can't lay film off to anything, and the industry's like on hold, right? And there's like everybody's like fighting and paying. I wish I had owned like 1,000 HD Cam SRs tapes because I would have been an instant millionaire that week.
Yeah.
Everybody's paying tooth and nail, just going after all these materials that they need. And all of a sudden there's a shift to, okay, we're at the end of the season. It's time to go to digital. And so that summer I work as the representative for the visual effects department to adapt to digital processes instead of working off of film and tapes like the industry has worked on for like since the beginning of time.
Wow.
At this point. So become kind of a crucial role in the visual effects department. People are finally starting to take me kind of seriously. I'm still straight and narrow, right? I'm dating a girl that's in law school. She's older than me, and she's like about to get like picked up for like a firm that's like one of the biggest in Southern California, a big corporate firm that represents Apple and stuff. And I'm taking life really fucking seriously because she's gonna get out of school and get like $1 million a year.
Yeah.
And I'm still making like $15 an hour, and she's like, dude, you got to step it up, you know. So, couple years in. This guy gets hired. His name's Armin Kevorkian, great guy, definitely like a jet setter in the industry. And he walks in his first day. I meet him. I go out like 2 hours later for my cigarette break, and I'm like hiding behind a bush having a cigarette because people always wanted me for something, right? Unfortunately, I became a crucial part of what was going on in this, but also that's great for your career in some ways. And he walks out, and he's on the phone, and he's like, get me out of this fucking contract. This place sucks. He's like talking to his lawyer or his agent or something like that. He's like, I don't want to fucking be here. I got sold like way upriver. Like, this is bullshit. And I I had been going to this place since like I was a kid. So I like in my head, I'm like kind of like, yeah, I think he's kind of right. You know, like we don't have the best employees. We're hiring the cheapest people possible. It's like we're always looking at numbers. We're not doing the work the way that this company has a reputation to do work anymore. We're doing just as much as possible, as profitable as possible, and trying to make money. Let alone the company's still doing great things. Like we're getting nominated for awards every year and everything like that. But like at the end of the day, profit margins mattered, and the art didn't anymore.
Yeah.
So he's not happy, and I'm still this like kind of dorky, skinny Jewfro kid, and I'm like walking around, and I wasn't so good with words at the time, still not, and I'm like, dude, I gotta go back inside. My phone's going off the hook. I've got my little like beeper thing on me. People need me, but he's still screaming his head off, and I don't want him to know that I've heard everything that he said. So I like kind of try to like sneak by, and he goes, "Do you have a lighter?" And I'm like, "Fuck." Yeah. Yeah, whatever you need. And he goes, "Sit down." And I'm like, "Oh fuck, I'm screwed, man." Like he knows I'm caught. I'm gonna lose my job too. And for whatever reason, I open my mouth, and the first thing that comes out is, "I totally agree with everything that you said."
Wow.
So we sit there for like 2 hours. My phone is going off the hook, and my smoothest moment in life. Like you can ask all my girlfriends, I'm not a smooth guy. This was just the smoothest moment ever. It's like, I totally agree. The paint's going to dry up, all this shit. I believe in this place, but I don't believe in what's happening, and management's not doing a good job, and it's all a numbers game, and we're so corporate and blah, blah, blah. And then we end up having like an hour conversation about visual effects and getting to know each other. He's Armenian. The girl I'm dating is Armenian, and the Armenian community in LA is very like, you take care of your own.
Yeah.
And he's like, "You're basically Armenian." And I'm like, "Cool." He's like, "All right, here's what I'm going to do. I can't get out of this contract, but you're going to be my guy." So we walk up, and literally my boss, the president of the company or vice president, whatever he was, he's like, "Alex, where the fuck have you been? Like, do you not see that your phone has like 1 million messages on it?" And he goes, "You don't fucking talk to him like that. He's my guy." And so I'm like, what's happening, right? Yeah. And I end up working with him, and I give up my life. Like I give up basically like my early 20s. My early 20s are just shot. It's 12 to 16-hour days. We're trying to make the best thing possible out of everything, right? We're finding the best people that work for this company to complete the jobs that we want to do. And he gets and through this process, I end up becoming a visual effects producer at like 23. And by the time I was 24, I got nominated for an Emmy. Working with this guy.
Outstanding, man.
Yeah.
Wow.
Killer.
Outstanding.
Killer.
So what I hear you saying is you had no idea the direction.
No.
But you kept the faith. You stayed consistent.
It's strange.
You tried to quit, but somehow you couldn't end up doing that, right?
So if I told you this story literally like 5 years ago, it would be like, man, it's just luck, it's just like Vegas. Like
Sure.
I love going to Vegas, and you get the good hands, and I just keep on getting good hands. And then over time, I started, my wife, bless her, she really got me going to church. And the first time I went to the church that she went to in Colorado, I felt like the pastor was looking right at me and talking to me, and he's going, "There's no luck in life. Like God has a plan for you." And I'm like, okay, cool, And then he starts talking about like, have you ever had like weird coincidences that happen where you just fall into something and then all of a sudden it completely changes your life? And I'm like, that happens to me all the fucking time. Yeah. And then he starts talking about using that towards, goals and to affect other people's lives and everything. And it's just like this message like spoke to me. Like I was just in shock, and she's like, "Oh, yeah, you had a really good first church experience. Like, good for you." And I'm like, "Well, I've been to church before, but I didn't really like it so much." Yeah. And all of these happenstances that literally started at Jesus walking through the door of that courtroom are things that like have had ripple effects and still have ripple effects today. I mean, from getting nominated for an Emmy, I got a really big head, which probably isn't exactly what the Lord wants me to have. But at that moment, But, I don't know if you've ever seen the movie Euro Trip when they tip the guy 50 cents and he's like, they're in like East Berlin or something like that, East Germany, Prague or something. And he's like, with this, I start my own hotel. Like that was me. I was like, I'm starting my own visual effects company, And, this, a great partner kind of came forward, someone that was working on something already. And, she wanted to bring me in as a pretty crucial role as to what's going on. And together we basically crashed out what existed as a company. There was an effort to start something in a way that was kind of working. But with the numbers that I saw in that, and then with the experience that I had, when you're young and you work, and I'm a big proponent for this, like, kids especially, you can do anything you want in life. First, don't ever don't let anybody tell you that you can't. But when you're young, do not go and listen to some professor, especially just like, look, I hate to say it this way, but like, look at the parking lot. If your professor's driving a Toyota Corolla, like, they haven't succeeded. Look at the people around you that are doing well, and doing well, a lot of it has to do, and I attribute it to happiness. Don't put like a fiscal thing on everything. It's all about happiness. I absorbed so much working for this studio, becoming a crucial part of their systems. I mean, it's like looking at all the processes and then getting a chance to look at the numbers. I think that there was another turning point while I was working for that studio where, the company got bought out by a larger corporation and they wanted to reshift how everything was done. So they hired like the chief financial officer from Coca-Cola, right, to run a post-production corporation. And I'm like, look at this lady, and she's like coming into our offices and she's like, listen, when you bottle up 100 Cokes and you send it to 7-Eleven, you get paid this amount of money. They're like, why can't we apply that to visual effects? And I'm like, because every fucking shot isn't a bottle of Coke. It's like, it would be one empty bottle of Coke and one full bottle of Coke and everything in between. It would be like, the metrics are so much more different. But I really, in that last year that I spent there, I spent so much time looking at numbers that when Rapid VFX came around, I looked at things as, I looked at things as you spend the money to earn the clients. You don't look at profit margins. You take care of people. Our big thing has always been like, I felt like a lot of studios took advantage of people and paid them, $15 to start, and then like they would like max out at $35. Our starting pay is $70 an hour. So everybody who comes into our circle, if we feel like they're talent that we want on board, they come in and they're immediately making more than double of what they were in their past life.
Man, that's incredible because it takes a weight off the shoulders of the employees.
Oh yeah.
There's some trust that's pre-built in with the pay, but they don't have to stress after work about maybe getting a second job or how am I going to afford living, because living expenses are going up. And then they're going to put the maximum effort out for you.
That's it. Yeah. You're going to get the best out of that employee because they know that you're taking care of them.
Yeah. And I mean, also the stresses of living in LA are already high enough. It's like the industry has shifted now. You can live in Austin. You can live in Nashville. You can live in Atlanta. You can have a job in the industry. But at the time, it was LA or bust. It was basically LA or Vancouver. And it's two cities that are very expensive to live in, where there's a lot of pressure to have a nice car. There's a lot of pressure to have a nice place. And at the end of the day, if you're a visual effects, especially if you're a visual effects artist, I can't say this for management. We work hard and we work hard to keep these people happy. But the visual effects artist, the team that I have, they spend up to 20 hours a day looking at computer monitors. Your fucking life should be so damn good if you're looking at a computer monitor all day. Yeah. And when you take a vacation, you should really be able to enjoy yourself and not look back and be like, oh man, like I really want, I'm in Hawaii and I want to go my wife wants to go parasailing, but like I don't know if I want to spend $1,000 to take her parasailing. No, take your fucking wife parasailing. When you come back, you're gonna get that 70 an hour plus overtime. I mean, we're well beyond 70 an hour with most of our employees. Our guys are an amazing team, and everybody makes exactly what they deserve, and we pay them as much as we can on top of that. There's crazy times that come along. The entertainment industry definitely has like pressures that are, it feels like you're a brain surgeon. We have to get this done by now, otherwise the show doesn't air. I mean, no one's going to die if a show doesn't air, but sure, there's going to be a lot of lawsuits flying around, and somebody's going to get hurt, and we don't want to be the ones to. And so, like, we just had this crazy 6-week run where we got 6 episodes of 2 TV shows done in 6 weeks, and we had not a lot of time to do them. And it's like we're going through and we're billing all this overtime and everything like that. And I'm looking at it and I'm like, well, the margins are going up based on the overtime. We're not going to keep all of that. All these guys are working. I mean, one of my guys worked 48 hours straight. Wow. At which point I didn't know he had done it, but we were able to complete a pretty major task without issue because of that. And we just go like, hey, dude, we're gonna throw you a $3,000 bonus cash on the spot. Wow. Please go on vacation. Please do so. Yeah, please go on vacation. Go to Mexico. I hate Mexico. Go to Mexico. Your wife likes Mexico, dude.
What's funny is last week I was on Zoom meetings for about 4.5 straight hours. And I walked out of those after 4.5 hours, and I was blinking like I had I was coming down or something.
I know.
It was so I can't imagine being on a computer all day.
I know.
48 hours.
Staring at a screen. I had a headache. Gosh. I mean, I felt terrible.
Well, and the whole model in the industry for the longest time has been to take advantage of people. It's like there's this. Maybe I'm jaded or whatever, but I've never looked, and it could be because I was exposed to celebrities at like a young age. Like my dad worked in the industry, my mom was a writer, but at the end of the day, like they're just people like you and I. And honestly, the thing that like Hugh Laurie hates the most is when people go, "Oh my God, it's Hugh Laurie." Whereas like I'm like, "Hey, what's up, Hugh?" Like, thanks for the. He used to, dude. When I worked on House, he used to give us the most insane gifts. He would give us for Christmas. He would give us like 2 weeks before Christmas a $500 Amex gift card, and this was like early. This was like 2000. God, oh my God. This was like 2010, 2011. Like $500 was still a lot. But Biden hadn't been president yet. It was good. It was good money, I don't know. He was just like a real guy. And there's a lot in Hollywood. There's a lot of people that really work their ass off and they're treated like almost like slaves in the industry. But it's just like, well, it's like, oh my God, you're working on a movie that Melissa McCarthy's in. Like you should be so lucky. No, you should be so lucky to have these great people. Like the teams, Melissa McCarthy is a very talented actress and she deserves all the fame that she has. But you have so many people working behind the scenes, so we want to take care of those people. Yeah. That's been the whole motto of this company.
Now, let me ask you this: so the experience at Red Rocks Church, which is where this was at, correct? With your wife, were you guys married then?
No.
Okay. How does that play into? Were you already paying your people this amount of money, or was there a shift there where you were like, I'm just going to take extra good care of these people?
No, I've always, that's the model that I brought into the company.
Okay.
Maria, my business partner, platonic life partner, work wife. I love her to death. We tackle things from two different. I'm the feelings and vibe guy. Okay. And then she's the numbers and everything else. Yeah. And also, I mean, like she keeps my personality at bay, which is great, because I'll go into meetings and I'm just like ready to fucking throw in let's start throwing numbers around right now, Jack. And we bounce off each other so well. I'm so blessed to have her in my life. Again, another random person that appeared in my life and has changed it. I mean, we've been together in this process for over 10 years now, and we trust each other, and and on top of that, we have a lot of fun together. We don't get to hang out as much as we used to because our lives are very far apart and different. Yeah. But she is the godmother to my son.
Nice.
I saw it. I kept on being like my raises when I was working for Ascent Media, which became Deluxe, never really came. I was always promised like, oh, you're going to make 20,000 more next year or something like that, but it never came. But let alone, I was like, at one point I was billing $3 million a month for the company.
Wow.
Right. And they're like, well, but the profit margins aren't there. Your profit margins aren't that good. And I'm like, I know I'm making at least $1 million a month. Right.
Wow. Yeah.
Like, I don't want a huge raise. I don't want to be rich. You don't have to pay me part of that $1 million.
Right.
But like pay me enough to live in an apartment nearby because you want me here 18 hours a day.
Yeah.
So I should have a 5-minute commute home.
Right.
You know, and that's better for the company.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And they were always just like, you know, we'll see next quarter. We'll see how things go.
Right.
Oh man.
And so we did this. This was right off the bat. Like, our company's motto has been not a single employee that makes less than 70 an hour when it comes to the talent, especially.
Yeah. Well, based on your experience, and then also, you know, work. I just think it's incredible, just the story, the timeline that you just gave to us, because for young people today, with social media the way it is,
right,
they want to come up right away.
Right.
And what you described to me was, you know, faith without works is dead. You know, yes, God was involved, but you had to put one foot in front of the other and take action.
Yeah.
Okay. And every day you showed up.
Yeah.
Even when you didn't want to, right? And then look at the success that you have today.
Yeah, and you know, I mean, it's I didn't have the same drive and motivation. You know, the drive and motivation was just always, you know, we want to grow the business. You know, and a lot of people fall into that where it's like, oh, you know, like the term 10x is thrown around a lot, and it really kind of ticks me off personally. It's like, oh, you shouldn't be focused on 10xing things. You should be focused on changing people's lives, and that's where the reward will come. And it's like every time we forget to put our employees first, we suffer. And every time we put our employees first, and every time we talk about them, and then every time we put our customers first, our clients who are amazing. It's like we don't have a single client that I will call a client. All my clients are friends. We talk and we'll spend like 2 hours on the phone just bullshitting, and then it'll be like, oh wait, oh dude, like we gotta get this episode done today. Like, wait, what did you call me about? You know, oh, this one shot, you know, there's something left in it. We got a reflection or something like that needs to get
gratitude for everybody around you.
I'm so grateful for everybody around me. I mean, it's the kid that got kicked out of high school, that was selling dope, that got arrested, that was on probation for 3 years, is now like living a solidly decent life. You know, I'm able to put food on the table. I'm able to provide for a family. I'm able to provide for my, you know, my wife, who takes care of her own things. You know, but I definitely she deserves everything in the world, so I give her everything that she can't buy for herself.
Good for you.
You know, and now, after having a son, everything kind of changed, and this church experience kind of changed it. As I finally got the perspective that this didn't all happen by accident. This wasn't just me going to Vegas and having the luckiest weekend of my life. Like, my life is, I'm not calling myself perfect. I'm definitely not anything towards, you know, this Jesus character that walked into my life. But I do recognize the fact that God has given him this purpose, you know, and it makes sense. I've always argued for everything my entire life. I always saw what was right and what was wrong, and I didn't like the things that were wrong. And especially my generation is so focused on, you know, I'm 35, so I'm a millennial, and every millennial focuses on the fact that, you know, it's not fair. Everything isn't fair. The world's working against you. The world's falling apart, all this kind of stuff. I was always the one that was like, well, it's not fair, so how do I make it fair? And if it's not going to keep on being fair, how do I beat down the guy that is making it unfair? I mean, we've outlived 10 years is a long time for Post, knock on wood, and we pray every day that we're doing another 10. We have plans for another 10 that are pretty great. We've got some big announcements coming up soon. But, you know, hey, things aren't fair, so let's make them fair.
Well, and going back to our meeting, right? Like, so I'm walking to the restroom. You know, we get the VIP tickets because I want the experience. Mm-hmm. And I'm carrying an empty gallon of water, and this guy just starts hollering at me, right? So I'm like, all right, this is a cool guy. Let me start chopping it up with him. And just his positivity, he was radiating positive. And ever since then, every interaction that we've had has been positive. Mm-hmm. So, you know, you can't help but have success. And that is a spiritual way of doing business too, is always thinking, you know, good things are going to continue to happen.
Good things are always going to continue to happen.
Because you're treating people fairly.
Yeah.
You're paying your people well. You're you know, the existing relationships, you're cultivating those even more. You know, word will continue to spread. I mean, it's not brain surgery.
Yeah.
Vibration, man. Increasing your vibration.
And it's gratefulness too, you know, and there's tools to it and everything like that. And it's just, yeah, I do love people. Like, I don't know if my mom dropped me on my head or whatever, you know, but like, I do kind of feel like Forrest Gump sometimes. It's got me in trouble before. I was telling him last night, I got detained during COVID shutdowns. I one day I said, fuck it. And I went to the beach, and a green helicopter flew by the beach. And right, I'm not supposed to be there. I should have realized it was the sheriff, right? But I'm like, hi. And I got detained, and my dog got taken, the whole thing. Like, but that's me, you know, I love saying hi to people. I love talking to people, and getting to know, positive energy, dark energy, light energy. I definitely always walk away from the dark, I run into it all the time. A lot of people are out there with cynical views on life or they're worshiping all the wrong things. And I don't think, again, like coming from that Catholic school experience, listen, I believe in God and I believe in Jesus Christ. But at the end of the day, we have to recognize whether you don't want to put a name on it, if there's no God, if there's no Jesus Christ, there's energies on earth that are positive and they're negative. And I think that's what, you really got to focus on. That's what you really got to believe in. The Bible, I started looking at the Bible. I got a really scientific version of the Bible. I can't remember what it is, but I'll follow up with you guys on that when I get back home. And basically I started eating a biblical diet. If the food wasn't in the Bible, I didn't eat it. And all of a sudden I felt really damn good.
Wow.
Wow.
So whole foods and vegetables.
Yeah, whole
meat.
They don't really talk about vegetables in the Bible that much. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fish and red wine.
But actual food, not what 90% of what's in the grocery store is not actually wasn't in there 100 years ago, right?
I mean, let's not go down that road.
Yeah.
But it's like if you start looking at things like the Bible, if you start looking at things like the Torah, those are the two things that I've read, so I know. And you start looking at that as like fundamentals for life, how to treat people, be positive, welcome everybody, embrace people, let strangers into your house, let them have food, feed people, every rule that's in there. If you just look at it, if you don't want to believe in the church, if you don't want to believe in God and you don't want to believe in Jesus, read that book as just a manuscript for life.
Sure.
And it's so amazing how it'll change your life.
Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah. That's incredible advice.
Great. Yeah.
Incredible.
Just giving back, taking care of one another.
Always give back. And always like treat random people, like you want to be treated, and then all of a sudden your life completely changes.
Well, I mean, I gotta say, like driving from Texas to come here to be here in our humble little studio that we have here, being a part of this is just incredible. And I appreciate you so much.
Of course, man.
It's been a great hour.
Yeah,
it has.
Safe travels to LA.
Yeah,
I'm gonna come see you in the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, for
I'm
sure.
gonna be out there handing out flyers.
Yeah, we'll be out there. You got to meet my son, man.
business.
You got to meet my son. We love having like good vibrations around our son. So please come out.
Absolutely.
Please come hang out.
Maybe,
Hopefully, I'll come
Mike
back
will
here
make the trek
eventually.
with me.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Done.
Hell yeah, guys.
Austin, let's do it.
All right.
Appreciate it, brother.
Cool.
Thank you so
come
much.
to Austin, and everybody out there that works in the entertainment sphere, rapidvfx.com. Look us up. It's rapid with 2 P's. And again, feel free to get in touch with me personally. I'd love to talk to you if you've got something going on that we can help each other out with.
Absolutely.
Cool.
Yeah. Thank you, guys.